Hello, boxing fans. Right now, I'm going to talk about Wach versus Wladimir Klitschko, Mariusz Wach, that is. And I'm going to have to make this one real quick because I've got to go to work. I'm skipping food to do this prediction, so I'm just going to grab a can of Relentless on my way out. Starting with Wladimir Klitschko, he's won 58, 51 by way of knockout, lost 3 all by knockout. That's 61 fights. He is the unified champion and the most dominant heavyweight champion there's been since Lennox Lewis. His opponent, this is a voluntary defense against Mariusz Wach. You know, he has fought 27 times, all 27 wins, 15 by way of knockout. That's a 55% KO ratio. He's knocked out the majority of his recent opponents, which shows he's actually getting better. His technique's getting better, his power's getting better. You know, some things are not getting better, obviously, but let's go straight to the advantages and I'll go into that. Power, I'm going to call that even. You know, Wladimir's got great power for a guy like him. He's big, he's strong, and he knows what he's doing. He's technically sound. Wach, he's not as technically sound. He's got good power. If he lands clean, he's going to put you out. He's not got as big an arsenal as Wladimir, but, you know, they're both quite obvious, quite predictable, quite robotic. But Wach's the bigger guy. He's probably got that slight edge in the power. Let's just say he's got the slight edge in the power. But Wladimir throws more shots. He's more accurate. He's got the better accuracy. I put that down as that. Speed. Wladimir's got the advantage. He's very quick, fast hands, fast feet. He's very fast for a big guy. You know, if you look at him, he's very robotic, like I said, predictable. But the speed of his hands can somewhat throw off his opponents, and they don't see the shot coming, can't get out the way of it, and they get caught a lot. You know, you just got to go through a random highlight reel of Wladimir Klitschko, and you'll see his opponents trapped in the ropes, you know, taking shot after shot after shot, you know, jab, jab, big right hand. Stuff like that is just what Vladimir's bread and butter is. And I think that will be slightly different in this one. I think he's going to use the jab a lot more. I think he'll still use the same type of thing, but I don't think he'll be as willing to stand and trade, especially with a guy who's bigger than him. With guys like Mormek, you know, and Hay even, he took the centre of the ring and he came out very aggressively. But with these guys, he was, you know, extremely bigger. That's what you got to remember. You know, the difference between these guys was like the difference between a lightweight fight and a middleweight. Sometimes it's just not going to be competitive. Boxing styles and ability. Well, Wladimir's got a good advantage here. You know, he knows what to do. He knows what works for him. He knows what doesn't work for him, and he sticks to what he does best. He doesn't mix his shots from head to body because this is the heavyweight division. They only fire to the head. There's only one heavyweight out there right now that's switching from head to body, and that's Tyson Fury. He's very accurate with his jab, like I said, and he does have the follow-up punch. However, this is the first time that Wladimir is going to be fighting a guy who is bigger than him in terms of frame, and he's also taller. You know, Wach. You know what Wach loses in technical ability to Wladimir, he's going to make up in hunger and the fact that he can bring pressure. You know, if you look at what he does in his more recent fights against people such as, I think it was his last fight where he left the guy sparked out on the floor. You know, the pressure he brought to this big guy was enough that he could actually find a clean shot to the temple, and it lamped the guy clean out. Clean out. Now, if Wladimir takes a shot to the temple, I don't think he's going to be getting back up from it. That's all I can say about that. But that being said, you know, even though Wladimir is not a big fan of pressure and so forth, he has been able to deal with different things in the past, such as St. Peter. But is St. Peter as good as Mariusz Wach? You know, I think Wach's better. You know, but it's going to be good to see how Wladimir deals with being the smaller guy in the ring, because he's never had that problem before in his career, as far as I can tell. Looking at the chin, the advantages with Mariusz Wach, I mean, if you look at his chin, it's fucking huge. He's like got a huge frame, like I said. His bone structure's massive. You know, I've been told he's got a good chin, and I'm not surprised because it's huge. You know, you could probably hide behind it if there's a nuclear warhead coming towards us. So don't worry about that. Yeah, you know, anything can happen in boxing, you know. If by some freak accident this becomes an exciting and competitive fight, you know, we might find out pretty soon that Wach can take Vladimir's best punch. Whereas we know just by default from Vladimir's record that Wladimir won't be able to take a flush shot from Wach. So, you know, anything can happen in boxing, and I wouldn't write Mariusz Wach off totally in this fight, especially when he's found the killer punch against bigger opponents before, even if they were not as good as him in terms of ability and in terms of power and in terms of chin themselves. Looking at the movement, yeah, this one's definitely with Wladimir. This is the selling point for me. You know, he's a big guy, great mover, and that's not something that we see much. You know, if you look at Wach, he's a big guy, bad movement, awful movement. You know, if the less movement, the better for Mariusz Wach, and that sometimes may be the selling point. And for this, you know, I think this would be bigger than the speed, power, and skill that Wladimir has. So going straight into my prediction, I see Wladimir winning a very wide, unanimous decision. I think he's going to stay on the outside in this fight, and I think he's going to use a jab. You know, he's going to use his jab and follow up right hand, but he's not going to take any unnecessary chances. He knows he can't take the punches. You know, I'm not dissing the guy, but he can't take the punches. There's no point getting in the ring with a guy who's bigger than him and, you know, fighting it out with him in the middle of the ring. I think if he tries to tie him up, I don't think he's going to do that as much in this fight. We're going to learn a lot about the stamina of Wladimir Klitschko in this fight, because he won't be able to tie him up, because, you know, Wach is bigger than him. If he's trying to tie Wach up on the inside, Wach can lean on him and just make this a battle of strength. And if you're having a battle of strength with a guy who is bigger than you, you know, I'm not saying you're going to lose, but the advantage is with the other guy, isn't it, you know?